TLDR, Team Sonic Racing is not the Sonic All-Stars Racing transformed follow-up you may have been waiting for, but that doesn't mean it's not worth taking out for a spin. Like I said, Sonic All-Stars Racing Transformed is the better game through and through. Call it a gimmick all you want, but transforming between car, boat and aircraft allowed for some creative track design not seen anywhere else in the genre. And it was cool seeing long-forgotten characters get to race alongside their more popular contemporaries, even if that meant they all had to share space with Danica Patrick, Wreck-It Ralph and the Yogs cast. Charity or not, Team Sonic Racing does away with the characters and tracks from other series and makes it a purely Sonic affair, and it also ditches the transformation mechanic in favour of having your wheels planted firmly on the ground at all times. That sounds like a recipe for a PR disaster, but Team Sonic Racing still manages to hold its own. For reference, this video is 30 FPS due to capture card issues, but the game runs at 60 FPS on PS4 and Xbox One, and 30 FPS on Switch, both docked and undocked. Team Sonic Racing controls comparatively to Transformed. Turning, drifting, pulling off mid-air tricks, it all feels mostly familiar, which is good because Transformed controlled incredibly well in most circumstances. What of course sets Team Sonic Racing apart is the team part of the name, and my initial doubt about making the entire game essentially team-based Mario Kart disappeared completely after a few races. It doesn't require too much thought, there's no heavy mental gymnastics to be had here, everything is integrated very nicely. You'll be able to drive in a teammate's slipstream to get a quick boost, share items between each other with a simple press of the circle button, drift past each other for quick recoveries after being hit, and eventually fill a meter to perform a team ultimate, which makes you invincible, faster, and gives you improved handling. It's simple stuff, but it fixes one of my biggest problems with car racing, being that you won't be stuck in first hanging onto useless items because you've got no one to use them on. You need to win the race as a team, so depending on the situation, your best bet is to pass items off to a teammate in the hopes that they'll be able to catch up. No more sitting out in front plopping down bananas or overfilling on coins. Even the player out in front by miles can still actively participate in the race. Of course, this means you have to cooperate with your fellow teammates, either somewhat intelligent AI or some 6-year-old who will never think to share that eagle wisp they've been holding onto for the entire race because they don't know what button to press. There's 21 tracks, and they're mostly all designed very well, but there's definitely a tinge of repetition you have to deal with, especially with the Planet Wisp, Glacierland, and Casino themes. But some tracks are especially imaginative. Team Sonic Racing's take on a Haunted Mansion track in particular is quite the spectacle. Alongside the 21 tracks are 15 characters from the Sonic universe, which is a little underwhelming. Luckily, the devs had the stones to include Blaze and Silver in the game. Bisexual culture is having a crush on both Blaze and Silver at the same time. Or is that furry culture? Point is, some characters who never get any screen time get a chance to shine here, and Silver, now voiced by Bryce Papenbrook of I Have a Girlfriend but I'm Still Gonna Start a Harem Anyway because I'm an overpowered plank of wood with no sense of decency fame, is way too adorkable.
I'm so gonna own you, Silver.
Okay.
No, you're supposed to say in your dreams, Sonic.
In your dreams, Sonic.
Too late, the moment's passed.
In terms of things to do, there's online modes, local multiplayer, limited but still appreciated car customization, and a campaign mode of sorts. A Tanuki named Dirt on Par has invited everyone to a racing tournament with a cash prize, but he acts extremely suspicious and everyone starts to doubt him once he invites Dr. Eggman. And that's pretty much it, there's no twists or turns, it's just an excuse for everybody to race. And for characters to interact, which is something I rarely got to see because if you want to see those PNGs with text boxes, you have to go out of your way to press square at the event select screen. Simply pressing X just plops you into the race with no context. You don't need the context, I guess, but why do that exactly? Also, the campaign mode can suck my ass because it asks you to do these ridiculous ring and drift challenges that require such perfection that no, more than perfection. Being perfect isn't enough. I do the best I can after multiple tries and can barely muster a gold medal, which isn't even enough for all the stars. I just want to poop cubes out my ass, not drift around poles.
Our team's gonna beat you down.
Something I noticed though, particularly with the drift mechanics, and okay, I'm starting to fuck ants here, but something about the drifting kinda sucks. On one hand, there's not enough audio and visual feedback when boosting out of a drift. The pulsating effect around the car kinda blends in with everything else, and you can barely hear the engine or the boost effect. On the other hand, it's hard to tell how charged up your boost is while drifting. In previous games, you'd hear a whoosh for each level the boost is charged, up to a third time. In Team Sonic Racing, the audio cue is lost in a sea of noise and is barely audible. You either have to pay real close attention to your exhaust or rely on the very faint rumble your controller gives off. Honestly, I can barely tell I'm boosting half the time. There's other little nitpicks as well, most notably that it isn't as skill-based as its predecessor. Transformed gave you quite a few tools to defend yourself, such as the glove and being able to boost to avoid projectiles. But Team Sonic Racing doesn't have nearly as many options. Many items feel like they have one use, but the fact that they're wisps instead of the generic items from Transformed makes everything kinda gel better. For real, when you think of Sonic, do you think of a blowfish? Also, we got a gacha system because everything has to have a fucking gacha system now. It's all in-game currency, no microtransactions, but all customization parts are hidden in these things, so don't be surprised if you don't get anything for your favorite character for a while. Special mention needs to go to the music though. After Transform's kinda generic and very forgettable OST, Team Sonic Racing hit back hard. It has absolutely knocked it out of the park here. It's amazing. I'm not a Sonic fan, so I don't know how many of these songs are remixes of older tracks, but there's some melodies I do recognize here and there, and they've been remixed wonderfully. I want to burn Sky Road to a CD and insert it into my anal cavity. No matter how you cut it, Team Sonic Racing is an inferior game to its predecessor. It has literally one of the best soundtracks I've heard in years and gives you something to do while you're in first place, but the previous games feel more polished in my opinion. Having said that, Team Sonic Racing is still a good entry in the series, despite its faults, and worth the budget pricing. In fact, they're all worth it. All three Sonic games are great alternatives to Mario Kart and do more than simply copy the formula and replace Plumber and Friends with Sega characters. Honestly, pick them all up if you get the chance. Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing and Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed are both dirt cheap on Steam, even before sales come into play, and the Xbox 360 version of Transformed is backwards compatible with the Xbox One. They all have their own unique content as well, such as the first game having characters such as Billy Hatcher and the Bonanza Brothers. This isn't a case of sequels making the previous games irrelevant, they're just really good kart races. Even Team Sonic Racing. They all have something fun, unique, and different to offer. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a CD to remove from my asshole. Ow! Owie!
Hey, Silver. Long time no see. You came here from the future?
Yeah, I received the invitation in my era, 200 years from now, and journeyed back in time to participate.
You what?